Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I can say you first of all, if it is Thursday at midday on the 26th of June. If it isn't Thursday, the 26th of June at midday, you are watching us on playback, not live, but you are most welcome. Daryl, as you can see to my left, or to my right, whatever way you want to do it, yeah, we have the wonderful Daryl from the Solo Holiday Forum by Passion for Cruises. Good afternoon, Daryl.
Good afternoon, Peter. How are you? Are you well?
I really am, to be honest with you, and it's really exciting. It's another wonderful, exciting live that we're talking about. We're just going to give, if you're watching on playback, give about a minute for anybody watching live to come on, so they can actually see everything. But obviously, I've been on this particular hosted holiday, and I just going through all my notes and what I was posting and reminded myself of what an incredible, amazing trip it was, Daryl. It really is. So, just if you are joining us, yeah, we have a brand new 2026. It is April 2026. It's a hosted Royal Indian Odyssey solo exclusive tour. It's absolutely incredible, Daryl. And congratulations we did two this year, and we've got this one all for next year. So, Daryl, well done for grabbing this.
Yeah, well, first of all, Peter, just one of the things during April when you were hosting this tour, and Christine Vickers, our other host who'd done the second trip, um, for those kind of 4 weeks, I just was fed up in the sense of and just jealous of seeing your photos every day because, as you know, I went to India back in October,
Mm,
and I did a snapshot of what you guys did, and I
mm,
absolutely fell in love with India, and I
yeah.
really cannot wait to go back. But watching your photos come in, and because you were 7 hours in front, I'd literally wake up. The first thing I'd see on Facebook in the morning when I checked my phone was your amazing pictures. And
Yeah.
every day I was just like, I want to be on this trip. They look like they're having the best time ever. They were seeing these fabulous sights. They were getting to see India from kind of, you saw such a vast amount. I dread to think how many miles you covered over those 15 days and
Daryl,
14 nights.
we covered a lot. Just to let you
Yeah.
know, most people are joining us live now. We're going to go through the itinerary and the deal very quickly. And then we will go through the daily, an example of what I experienced on the day and Daryl's experience to India as well. Please, if you've got any questions, please ask us a question. This is a great opportunity to ask a question. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video. Please make sure you're subscribed to us. And so it's an incredible tour. And we're going to go also, Daryl. We can announce that the lovely Christine Vickers will be the host on this.
Yeah, so just on that, Peter, as you know, with this particular India tour, Christine Vickers did the second trip, as we alluded to earlier. And Christine is a retired tour manager. So she's managed loads of tours over
Mm.
years for numerous tour operators, but she's now come to work for PFC, hosting some of our trips. She's doing one this year and two next year, and hopefully many more in the future. So she's
Yeah.
done this trip. So what a great host to have, someone who's tried and tested, seen this trip from start to finish. And yes, she will be hosting it. So we are really lucky to have Christine on board and returning for next April's trip.
We really are. And so here we go, Daryl. Here we go. It's the Royal Indian Odyssey. It's 15 days, 15
I
days,
know.
solo exclusive hosted tour. Yeah. And Daryl, please talk us through this incredible itinerary.
Yeah, so basically, Peter, as you can see, it's 15 days, 14 nights. You start in Delhi, and then what you'll do, you'll make all your way through. So the great thing for us is you're going to get to see Delhi. Obviously, Delhi's one of these cities. It's the richest city in India, but you get to see all the different colors, all the different religions kind of mixing together. So you'll get to see the Sikh temple, you'll get to see the Grand Mosque. So it's a great city to start in, and it gives you a real kind of introduction into India. You'll then move on to Agra, which Agra, as you know, is famous for the Taj Mahal. Now, me and you could talk for hours about how beautiful the Taj Mahal is. It really is one of the best, or it is for me the best man-made site I've ever seen. It was just spectacular. You're then moving on to Jaipur, which is famous for the Pink City. Then you go to Udapar. You'll follow then on to Daragra. I can never say it right, Peter. Can you remember how you pronounce this right? I can always call it Diogarth, but I'm not sure how you pronounce it. So if
I will go with Diagraph.
yeah. And Udapur onto Adamlabad, and then Adamlabad finishing up in Mumbai to fly home. So you are getting a trip that includes train journeys. You're getting to see this beautiful country. You're getting to experience the people, and you know yourself how amazing the people are in India. They will literally give you literally the last thing they have. They would give you everything. They are just so lovely. So yeah, what a great experience for all our guests. With the trip itself, like you say, you're getting to see all the major sites, so the Taj Mahal, the Pink City of Jaipur. You're getting 4 scenic train journeys. You're getting 39 meals, 13 excursions, expert local guides. And you know yourself, Pete, and you can obviously speak from your firsthand experience how important the local guides are, how brilliant your tour manager was. So it's great that we've got this host there. So Christine will be there, but we also have an Indian tour guide, and they are worth their weight in gold. The bus drivers, the porterage service, everything is just really well done. Things like entrance fees are all covered. International return flights, overseas transfers, transport, hold luggage, and the most important thing, these holidays are ATOL and ABTA protected.
Yeah, and even more important, Daryl, this is the incredible deal.
Yeah. So from Heathrow, it's starting at the lead-in at 2,999. You can fly indirect with Manchester, Gatwick, or Birmingham with Emirates Airlines. So Heathrow will be direct, but the other 3 will be indirect via Dubai. As we've said, it's 39 meals included, a deposit of £295. So it's only £295 to confirm your place today. And as we said, this is hosted. So what is great, we'll have a tour manager, we'll have the PFC host. And what this is great, if anybody's looking to do India, and wants to tick it off the bucket list, this is the trip to do, purely and simply because you'll get out there, you'll see so much, you'll get to have so many great experiences, the food, the culture, the people, just the whole, what brings it together. And as I've said to you before you went, Peter, you will never, ever get bored of seeing a cow in the middle of the road. So wherever you go to in India, you'll be driving along. It could be a motorway. It could be a small street. You will see a cow in the middle of the road, and they know that they are in charge over there. And that's what, I say, it's amazing.
It's actually a cow with attitude, to be honest with you.
Yes,
they know. Cows with attitude, they know that they're untouchable. It's absolutely incredible. Here's the number, Daryl, and you'll be there.
So if anybody wants to call in today, we are our HQ's in Cardiff. It is a Cardiff number, so it's 02920 619 961. That number again, 02920 619 961. And we're open until 7 p.m. tonight.
We are indeed. Now, I really don't know. We're going to go through the dailies, by the way. Again, if you've got any comments, any questions, once we've gone through the daily itinerary, please ask us a question. It's a great opportunity to ask myself a question who's done this incredible trip, and Daryl as well. I mean, it really is an amazing trip. There is actually so much going on to see. I mean, it's officially, they call it a challenging tour, Daryl, yeah? And it's not a challenging tour from the point of view of the walking and what you're doing. It's because there's so much to do. There's so much. You're on the go a lot because you're seeing so much. And it was incredible. And I have to say, the tour party I had, nearly every single one, I think, to a person, was saying at the end of that tour, that's pretty well the best tour they have ever done in their lives. They just had the most incredible time. And when they went back to the UK, They've been watching the Best of Marigold Hotel. They're watching Gandhi films. They're watching everything because it all made sense. And just to very quickly before we go through the dailies, to talk about the you have, it's like your own coach. You have a tour manager and you have your bus driver who's with you for the whole time, apart from the last bits of Mumbai, yeah. And they've got like a, it's not a water boy, it's a water man on there who's looking after you with the waters and the drinks and things like that. It's your own tour coach for literally the entire time. The tour manager, our tour managers were absolutely incredible because of who we go through. They only have the best tour managers, people who have gone through the expertise. They're not just out of university, you know. So they were absolutely fantastic. Our guy was a guy called Gitash, and I've got to say, we called him Gary. You were incredible. And when we're having our trips on the coaches, they were talking about the history, his family life, about how it is. It was just so personal. So Daryl, let's go through the daily one first of all, just to paint the picture as much as
Yeah.
I can for my memories and your memories, and then we go to any comments and ask any questions, things like tipping and things like that, and the weather, all those kind of things. So
Just one from me, Peter, just before we go into this.
go for it.
Hotel standards, because one of the questions we get a lot from our guests are what the
Yeah.
hotel's like. But how did you find your personal experience in the hotels? All top-notch hotels, very clean, great food.
The hotels were great. I mean, the
Yeah,
standard, there were two things that stood out for myself. That I mean,
yeah,
obviously, the standard of the hotels were excellent all the way through. They really were. You know, there wasn't one hotel that I wasn't really happy with at all. They're all great. You
brilliant.
know, one of them was the castle. Can you believe it was
Yeah,
amazing? You know, and also I've got to say that because obviously you don't always have lunch in the hotels. You are having lunch sometimes in some of the local restaurants that they stop off at, and the standard of the food and the standard of those restaurants was excellent for lunches as well. It really was. That's a standout thing that I really do remember. Right, Daryl, let's go through because you've done
yeah.
some of these tours as well. You've been some of these places as well.
Yeah,
So
so like your start of your trip is basically what I did. Like I said, I did a
yeah,
snapshot.
yeah,
And like I said, Delhi was fascinating for me because you arrive in Delhi, and as you know, Pete, you've been on a long flight, but you get out there, and just from the bus journey to the airport to your hotel is fascinating enough. Just seeing the traffic, the sheer volume of people, but also the greetings you get when you get there.
yeah,
There's nothing like it. It really is such a fascinating city, and I've been fortunate to go to some of the major
yeah,
cities in the world, including Bangkok, and real busy cities. And yeah, Delhi,
yeah.
I was just impressed with from start to finish. And there's something about seeing the night buses. I don't know if you've
Mm,
been watching, Peter, but the Race Across the World's featured quite heavily in India at the moment, and
yeah.
they're in particular Rajasthan, and the buses that they're all traveling on this program, you get to see up close, and they're just fascinating. People just kind of lying in bed looking out the window. So
I know.
it's just getting there. As soon as you get to India, you're just like, wow, this country is amazing. So yeah,
Yeah,
so it's fascinating from the start.
it really is, and then it really kicks in basically, yeah. Because
Yeah. So
day three, as such, is your Delhi tour, you know, and I mean to start off with, by the way, yeah, to start off with, one of the first things you do is you take a rickshaw ride
oh, that's
around
brilliant.
old Delhi. Oh my! I think every one of us was saying that is some of the highlights of the most incredible things that I've ever done in my life. And the little narrow streets and the colors and the smells that you get. It's just an incredible
Well, with the
experience, you know.
rickshaw rides, what fascinated me the most is I had my rickshaw kind of rider. He was a young guy, but there was guys riding these rickshaws in their 70s, 80s with
Yeah,
no problems at all, just taking people around, and fearless as well, absolutely
yeah.
fearless. But what a great experience, and what a lovely start. And I can tell anybody who's done that, and you'll probably remember, it is a laugh a minute doing the rickshaw.
It
Everybody is
is.
just giggling. It's like being a little kid in the back of it.
There's a video on our YouTube channel as well, Passion for Cruises and Holidays for Solos on the on of the Rickshaw Ride. You know, it's great viewing. You must see it. I think it's one of the shorts and stuff. It's absolutely incredible. But there's
Yeah.
just so much. So going to experience old Delhi is just magical. You know, because you've got the New Delhi. New Delhi's been there literally from only about 100 years. But old Delhi, you're talking about, you're going back to like, you're going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And then you get to go and visit the Rig. Again, there are so many places that you see. You're going to the Regal Red Fort. You go to the India Gate, the President's House, you know, to the Qutb Minar, which is that was built in 1193. And that was built, that you get to visit that. And that was built after the defeat of the last Hindu king rulers of Delhi. You know, you get the history, and you get to go to the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial as well to visit there, and just to walk around and sense everything is just, you know, it's just an incredible moment. It really is, and you get to experience a few of the Mahatma Gandhi memorials during the actual tour itself. And they talk about the history and how it evolved and what
So
they did and went through.
there's a lovely story about that, Pete. So unfortunately, when I went to the Gandhi Museum, I misplaced my trainers. And basically, I was in a bit of a, oh my good God, I've misplaced my trainers. What do I do? And this Indian man offered me his shoes. He said,
Yeah,
look, please take my shoes. Um, and that was literally my first day in India. And I just
yeah,
thought, these people, and as I alluded to earlier, they will literally give you anything.
they will.
They're
Yeah,
just so polite. And that was, yeah, and that Gandhi memorial is fascinating actually, because what it did for me, and it's one of the things I didn't know, that the story about Gandhi beforehand, but it really triggered my mind. So then I started to read more about what
yeah,
Gandhi did, and
yeah.
basically how he was a huge influence, and even like the American civil rights
Oh,
movement. He played a huge part because it was all about peaceful campaigning, and yeah, what a great man he was. So yeah,
you,
that just got me started, just going to that place.
you can see it's not going to be the shortest show ever, Darryl, because there's so much to talk about, so much to see, and you're going to experience it. And that's what our group were doing. They were watching the films afterwards when they got to learn the history, you know. And again, when you're doing the coach rides with the tour manager who's talking through everything, and the knowledge they have is just unbelievable. So yeah, an incredible couple of days in Delhi.
Yeah,
Something, you know, I'll never forget that, Darryl. I will never
and Pete,
forget that.
that's the first couple of days. You've still got
Yeah,
another
that's the thing about it.
13 14
When
nights after, or
and
13
then
nights
and
after
then
that.
day four is an interesting one, yeah, because day four, if you got the early start, Darryl, yeah, you got the
Yeah,
early start
I
because you're going
like
to
that
go.
though, Pete. I really enjoyed that train journey. I don't know about yourself, but I really enjoyed that train journey.
Do you know something? Delhi train station at 5 o'clock in the morning's crazy. It's amazing to see all the yellow taxis everywhere, the tuk-tuks everywhere, the rickshaws everywhere, and people everywhere, because people travel in the morning. That's what they do. And so what an incredible experience to experience the train journey to Agra, which is what
Yeah,
we
and
did,
then
you know?
Pete, can you just allude, because this is the one thing we get asked a lot as well. What are the trains like? Well, let's get one thing straight. We don't put any of our guests into, say, the what I would call cattle class. Okay, so you're not going to be hanging on the edge of the train trying to get some space on there. The service that you get on the trains is very good. The seats are very good. They usually bring you around food,
Yeah.
complimentary. Um,
Trains,
yeah,
the,
so
the
trains are
st-
really good.
yeah, you're in the best class carriages basically, and they
Yeah.
are incredible. You've got your seats with everybody else, and it's an incredible thing to experience. It really is. And so, as you said, there's so much to go through, folks. So we might, if we do get lots of comments, we might pause for the comments. But there we go. So day four, and so when you arrive in Agra, you know, I think we were then met by tuk-tuks, and we were taken by tuk-tuks to the Red Agra Fort, you know, and that's one of the World Heritage sites, and there are and it's just so many of these amazing places that you get to see, and just to have that tuk-tuk ride through there is just incredible. And then you go to your hotel. Now, we all knew that we were really looking forward to and look again. some parts of it, you get a first little view of the Taj Mahal also from the Red Agra Fort. Now, day 5, Daryl, this was what we talked about, yeah? It was worth it. Sunrise at the Taj Mahal. Oh
You know
my.
my thoughts. You know my thoughts on it, Peter. I've spoken about this so many times now, but literally, you get into obviously towards the Taj Mahal. You walk up the stairs through what they call the Taj Mahal gate, which is this big, amazing building. And you literally come up these stairs, and as you walk down, you just see the Taj Mahal. And my exact words were, "Oh my God." I couldn't believe how spectacular it was, Peter. And I will, and I think until my dying day, I will not see a better building than that. It was absolutely stunning. Everything was perfect. I think you had a very similar experience to me, and I imagine all the guests that were with you, all the PFC members, they all probably were all at the end of it like,
Well, do you know what we
all
did, Daryl?
into the awe of it.
We did a group photo there.
Oh, that group photo is brilliant, Peter. I've actually got one on my near my desk. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I was showing people it the other day. It's just a
Yeah, we
beautiful
did a
photo.
group photo there, and Christine will talk about how that kind of works as well. It's just to see the sun rising, and oh, it's just an incredible. And you get to go in the Taj Mahal. What I would say, by the way, folks, yeah, that as you probably know, we were sharing this all the time on our Facebook groups. But our Facebook groups, obviously, all the posts disappear really, really quickly. Yeah, I've got a Facebook page, and it's called Cruising Tips Pete. It's a Facebook page, and I use it as a library. So if you want to see the photos of the daily blogs that I was doing, go to Cruising Tips Pete, and all the photos and videos are on there. Just scroll down. It's about I did Egypt recently. Scroll down and you can see everything. But the Taj Mahal, it's one of the new 7 wonders of the world. And it's one of those places where it just takes your breath away. It really does. So that was absolutely incredible. It really was. So we're going to go through, because otherwise we'll be here forever. Day 6, as you said, there were so many things. And day 6, Jaipur, the Amber Fort. And Jaipur is known as the Pink City. The Pink City. And when you go to the Amber Fort, it's incredible because you see these elephants walking around, and there are elephant rides they do, and it's another World UNESCO site, and and it used to be the royal capital until 1728, and it's just an absolutely incredible. Everywhere you go, it takes your breath away, Daryl.
Yeah, so with Jaipur, there's a couple of things to point out, and we were just saying then regarding the fort that a lot of Indians, when they get married in the local area, they will go up there to have their pictures. So it's a great place to go, not only look out and see the magnificent views, learn about the history, culture, but also see how the locals live. And it's a great time to get pictures with couples who have just got married, because they're in these fabulous wedding costumes, and it's just a great insight into how the locals live,
Do
which
you know what's
is
interesting, Daryl?
fantastic.
Interesting, Daryl, is that, and it took us back a little bit, but then there's lots. It's not just at that time of year. It's not just us who are there. You've also got a lot of Indian tour parties from different parts of India. And what happens is they see our tour party, and they send one of the kids over just to maybe try to get a photograph with us, yeah. And then the rest of them will come over, and the local Indian people, they wanted photos with us. It was incredible, so they can tell the stories of the Westerners that they had met. And there was one funny experience actually, Dale, because I was walking around with a bright yellow hat, for most of the tour. And I sat there with my bright yellow hat, and I saw this tour party coming up. I think it might have been here as well. This tour party coming up. They all had yellow hats. The whole 100 of them had yellow hats. So I joined their pool party, and they were all laughing. Then we sat down with the rest of the group, and they came over and they went, "Can we have photos with you?" So we're getting selfies with them, talking to them. They were just the most friendliest, loveliest people. And they're going to go back to different parts of India and talk about the Western people that they've met on their travels. So that will happen. It was just absolutely a magical thing to do. It really was. And so And we also, on that particular day, also we went to the visited the Janitor Manta Astronomical Observatory, Darrell. You know,
Okay,
with
what
all
was
the
that? 'Cause I
time
didn't do that.
periods
Yeah.
and the
So
timepieces on that.
yeah.
That was another thing we got to do. So now we're going to flick through to day 7. As you can see, there's so much because we're going from Pushkar to Jodhpur, yeah, and that is another great experience for us. Another wonderful train journey which we got to do, Daryl.
Yeah, so it's funny because, like I say, my trip stopped where you get to day 7 because mine was a lot
Right.
shorter. But one of the things in that previous photo is one of the questions we get a lot is what was the food like? Now, for me, I absolutely adored the food over there. The choices of different curries. Yes, there is a lot of curry, rice, naan breads, but no one went hungry on my trip. I don't know about yours,
No.
Peter. The standard of food was very good because you're always having it kind of at buffets at the 4 and 5 star hotels, the tour managers, and even on your long coach journeys or train journeys, the
Mm.
tour managers know where to stop, don't they? They
They
really do.
really do.
So they
They
don't take
know.
you to anywhere that's kind of really rough on the eye. They take you to some of the best places on these long journeys, so you're well catered for throughout the trip.
Fantastic places and shopping. We were stopping all the time and shopping, 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 shopping. It was quite funny actually. You know, it's like, okay, folks, we need to move on now. Shopping, shopping, shopping. Great opportunity to get amazing things. They really are. And Jodhpur, it's nicknamed the Blue City. It's on the edge of the Thar Desert. So what you're actually doing, you know, and you get to go to a Maharara Fort, which is the 15th century fort, and it's just an amazing place. Sorry, that's on Jodhpur. Sorry, that's where you get on to day 8. It's amazing because when you're on the train journey, you're watching the terrain change. You're now heading into the desert. So what we talked about on day 8, as I just said there, on day 8 is in Jodhpur, yeah, the Blue City, and that is on the edge of the Tar Desert. And again, you get to go to this incredible 15th century fort, and then you go to the Jaswant Thada traditional cremation grounds as well, and there's incredible, beautiful waters there. And again, it's just you can see from the photos, there's just so much to do and so much to see. Day 9, Daryl. I mean, you know, day 9 is incredible memories. You know, you got the Ranipu Temple complex, which is one of the main pilgrimage rites sites. Yeah, for the it's called the Jain cult. And again, we had on the way to that, the journeys you're having on the coaches, by the way, you can't take your eyes off the road with these tuk-tuks, these cows in the middle of the road, everything like that. It's incredible. But we went past one of the places on that journey, and the guy said in there is a motorbike. It's a Royal Enfield 380 motorbike in one of the places, and it's now worshipped. It's now a worship center and a kind of thing where people go and worship because a miracle happened there, basically, yeah, where some poor chap is getting an amazing story. Some poor chap rode the bike and unfortunately crashed into a tree and he lost his life, you know. And the police came along and they took the bike back to the police station, locked it away. Next day it was gone. They went back, it was back to where it was. A miracle. They couldn't understand it. The bike had gone back to where they had found it, even though it was locked away in a police station. And you can stop off there. I know that Christine's group stopped off there and they actually had photographs with this Royal Enfield 380 motorbike, which is actually worshipped because of this miracle that happened with this chap. Incredible, incredible stuff that you hear. Right. So day 9. So day 9. So sorry, I think we're on day 10 now.
Day 10 now, yeah.
Yeah, day 10 is that we go from Diagraph to Udapar. And again, we have this incredible train journey, Darryl, yeah? And it's a local train. And on this particular local train, literally the windows are barred, but the doors are open. And you can stand by the doors and you can see the countryside. And you can you're now going into leopard territory. And what happens is these monkeys, as you slow down, these monkeys are chasing the train, waiting to get these bananas, and the scenery is just stunning.
Yeah,
It's,
because there's a picture. So we have the picture competition. Well,
Yeah,
on Christine's trip, the person who won the photo competition was of the monkey sat on the edge of the train drinking Coke,
yeah,
drinking a Diet Coke. So yeah, I can imagine just seeing that is like, it's just stunning as well, isn't it? Because what India is brilliant for is the people, but not only the people, but also the wildlife,
yeah.
because you see all kinds of wildlife throughout,
You,
from
you
top to
really,
bottom.
you really do. I didn't see any leopards, but these monkeys were there. They were chasing us. It
Yeah,
was hilarious. It really was. But that train journey again, it was unique. And again, the group absolutely loved it. They just said it was probably in many ways their favourite train journeys of all the ones that we've done. And there were 4 iconic train journeys. And so now we go into day 11. Now day 11, day 11 is Udapar, and day 11, Udapar is called the Venice of the East, Daryl. It's a city of 7 lakes, and you got the
right.
city palace in the middle of the lakes. And that is where they filmed the James Bond film Octopussy. You
Did
know,
they?
the
Oh, I didn't
James
know
Bond
that.
films. Yeah, James Bond film Octopussy was filmed there. And what we got to do, so we went to another incredible temple. We got to see the lake. We got to see the actual city palace. But what we did was we did an extra trip, and that was a boat journey in the evening after before dinner, where we went past the city palace, on the lake on a boat organized by the company. We did that, and it was absolutely incredible. And we got to see the sun setting as well. It was just an absolutely stunning journey, and another beautiful part. So the Venice of the East, where it's completely changed, the terrain's completely changed. And again, you've got these amazing temples as well, but the city palace in the middle is absolutely stunning. So then, Daryl, then we're talking days 12 and 13 in some ways. We put them together. So you've got Vadapar to Ahmedabad, where it is. And again, and that's another opportunity to go to one of these wonderful, the home retreat of Muhammad Gandhi. Again, we got to go there. I think it's called the Sabarmi Ashram. And you just walk around there. That's where he used to live. That's one of his retreats. It's absolutely incredible. And then we take another train on day 13. It's the express train. The express train is to Mumbai. Now, Mumbai is the home of Bollywood. It used to be called Bombay. Now, some people still call it Bombay, even though it's really Mumbai. And there are more millionaires in Mumbai than there are in any other city in the world. But you've also got the shanty town in Mumbai, Daria. And you know what's really interesting? They're telling us that on the shanty town, at least 50% of the people that live in that shanty town live above the poverty line in India. No one goes hungry. There's food everywhere. The temples that do food. You know, I was really surprised how few beggars we saw. People selling stuff, but not beggars. And another thing, by the way, Daryl, I was like, where are the flies? I was expecting to be doing that. There were no flies. No flies at all. It was absolutely incredible. So that is another amazing city, the home of Bollywood.
Yeah,
And
Bollywood at the moment is like where Hollywood's not having a great time of it at the moment. Bollywood's just kind of really popular, and you're finding so many people wanting to go to Mumbai now to see these amazing Bollywood films. And you would have seen when you're out there, you just flick on a TV show and you see one of these fascinating dance routines,
yeah,
the outfits, everything. So yeah, I can see why Mumbai is getting more and more popular, especially
yeah,
with the British market. People wanting to go out there and see what
yeah.
Mumbai is all about.
It is, and we had a tour around Mumbai as well. We went to, and all what we did was that what the one of our last excursions as such. We went to visit the Stone Arch, the famous Stone Arch, which is built by King George V and his wife Mary back in the days. And then we took a local boat. A local boat, and we're all wearing lifeboats, by the way. Lifebelts, by the way. We're all wearing that, all that sort of things. But a local boat to Elephanta Island. It was about an hour's journey to Elephant Island, and that's where you get to see the incredible caves in Elephanta Caves that are dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva. It's 120 steps up to those caves, And what was interesting was, it might sound like a lot, but they've got all these little places as you're going along selling things. And so you're stopping all the time and looking up things to buy. I was doing that as well. You know, people were buying things all the time, by the way. And Elephant Island actually was one of the best prices of the lot, I think, because it's slightly out of season and it wasn't massively busy. But to go into the caves and to see the carvings and the statues and everything is absolutely incredible. And that was the last of our excursions that we did. So we then came back. We then had a tour around where you can see where they do all the washing. They show you where they do all the washing, all the whites get hung out together and things like that, you know. And then it was back to the hotel for the last supper before we took our flight back to the UK. And it was just magical, which is why we're still talking, Daryl, after so long, you know.
Yeah, so there's a question just come up I've seen from Sharon Peter about the Indian visa, and there's the Indian visa is an e-visa, so you have to complete it online. I always suggest take a couple of hours out, but Pete did something alternative to me. I actually did it via the Indian government website. Pete actually did the cheap way, paid a little bit more, if I'm right in saying, Pete, and got Mercury, who are hosting this trip, to use their travel visa company. Is that correct?
Yeah, what they did was I decided if there's anything under £100, I might just do it, basically, yeah, because of the nature of explaining quite a long time to do it. Mercury recommend a company, a travel visa company, something like that. So I
Yeah, that's
phoned them
correct.
up and they were great. They sent me an email straight away. I think it's in the 60s, basically, yeah. And so you then go onto their website and you fill the stuff in on their website. And obviously it's been all shortened because they know what they want. They then check everything. Because if you make a mistake with a visa on your form and you make a mistake on it, it could be a problem because they can say you can't fill that in again now for another month or something like that. I actually used them to do it. And it was like the best 60, £70 I have ever spent, Daryl, because they were so good. They sent it to me. But what I would say is it might be an e-visa, folks, yeah? Print it. You will need a printed copy. So you can download that and make sure you have a printed copy. There are two printed copies you would definitely need in India. One is the visa, because I wasn't sure about that. And our WhatsApp group, which there'll be a WhatsApp group for this tour, by the way, before you go, Christina will organise that, so you can talk about it beforehand and have help with that visa. People are asking that question. Yes, I asked that question. You will need to print it, and on your return, when you go to Mumbai Airport, basically, yeah, or Bombay, if you want to call it Bombay, if you go to Mumbai Airport, you will need the copy from Mercury, which has the flight details on it and your name. You'll need that to get into the airport. You'll really need it. And by the way, when you arrive, there will be a Mercury person waiting for you. Do not leave the airport because you can't get back in. You can't get back in the airport. Stay in the airport for any reason if you arrive before anyone else does. Because one chap did leave the airport. So, more questions, Darryl?
Yeah, so there's another one saying how long is the flight from Heathrow and which airline? So Mercury tend to use Virgin Atlantic. It will be it's usually an overnight flight and it's usually about 9 hours going out and about 9.5 hours coming back.
Slightly shorter than that, Darryl, I think I found. Slightly short,
Yeah.
about 8 hours, I felt it was. So the flight was fine. Virgin were great, that was all good, So yeah, and we're all excited, to be honest with you. Some
Well,
people, yeah.
my questions to you, Pete, just really quickly, because I'm conscious of time and I know you are, because we don't want to keep people from their busy days. But obviously, from a host perspective, because you've hosted it, um, how did the group find it having a host there and having a tour manager? Did you bring the group together and was it really important at night times when you're having food, especially because these are solo people?
Yeah, it was. You're more of a social host, to be honest with you. You
Yeah,
organise a photo competition, you organise a prize draw, but I work very closely with our tour manager,
brilliant.
Geetash, yeah, because there are certain things that we were doing, you can do extra in the afternoon. So they were options. So he would talk to me about, we got some options now. Maybe they might want to do this, they might want to do that. So people had the option to stay in the hotel or the option to do the sort of extra sort of things. And he was giving me all the input of where we're going and what we're doing and where we're going to be and things like that. Because he's not just a tour manager, he's your tour guide. And he was outstanding, as was the driver, and with tips, by the way, just to let you know, the way that works with the tips is that I think he took about £20 off us at the beginning for the tips for all the little things like the tuk-tuks, the rickshaws, the porters. So we never had to tip anybody. That was all organised by them. They did it all. They tipped everybody, and that worked really, really well. And so then we had envelopes for 3 people, basically. The driver who's with us the whole time, and you can put in what you want. His assistant who's looking after you with water, always water, loads of water, and has drinks there, which you can purchase like Coke and things like that when you're on the way back. Absolutely brilliant. It meant so much for them, and of course a tip for the tour manager as well. And it's entirely up to you what you want to do. So I put those envelopes around, and the envelopes got pretty fat, by the way, and you can put in whatever you want, euros, whatever money you want. And also money wise, the tour manager said when we got there, he said, okay, for anything you want to get, if you want me, I can organise the local currency for you. So you give him £50 or give him €50 or give him $50, and he'll get that money for you as well. And it just worked out so well, and again, you got to know their family life. You got to know family. It's all about family in India. He talked about his wedding and all those things. It's a magical country, a magical place. And this is a magical tour at a magical price, to be honest with you. I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of finish up on that point, Peter, the pricing, the date of departure is the 16th of April, 2026. You get the lead in from Heathrow at 2,999. However, you can go from Manchester, Gatwick, or Birmingham with Emirates Airlines via Dubai from 3,359, includes 39 meals, a deposit of 295. But my big thing on this is exclusive to PFC members only. You will have a host. It's solo exclusive, so you have your own room throughout. Yeah, it's all en suites. You're staying in 4- and 5-star hotels. And my favorite thing is it's little things like dining in the evening. No one will dine alone. That is the great thing. You'll meet people and you'll meet friends for life. So if this is maybe the first time you've done a long haul trip on your own, this is the perfect tour to book on, because you will meet people who will become friends for life. And I imagine, Pete, from a host perspective, you have the WhatsApp group before. So any questions, any anxiety, anything like that, you can cover in your WhatsApp groups, which is lovely. So
we have the event, the Facebook event as well.
The Facebook events
as well.
So so there's so much going on. And like I say, Christine, our host, has done this trip. She's done it already. She's tried, tested, so she knows what to do. So if anybody is interested in doing this, I highly, highly recommend it. Just listening to Pete today talk about it, bringing back his wonderful memories, my experience of India, I do think for anybody who's wanting to go to India, this is the perfect trip.
It's an incredible trip, and they're all talking about seeing other parts of it maybe as well, and going together. They're all talking to each other still. They're all friends and stuff. It's magical. But as I said, the one thing I did say is that when the group talked about how they felt, they felt that our wonderful tour guide was just amazing, one of the best we've ever come across. And again, that's thanks to Mercury and what they do, having the right ones. But they talked about this particular trip as being probably one of the highlights of their lives, and most of them are all saying it's actually, and they were experienced tour people here, this is the best tour they've ever done. I can't recommend it enough. I really can't. Daryl, thank you so much, by the way. I really appreciate everything, you coming on and talking about it from your experience as well. Thank you, Sharon. The host is Christine Vickers, Sharon, who was the host for the second one that we did this year. I did April, she did May, but she's
and we need to send Christina congratulations. She's actually tomorrow is her last day, and then she fully retires. and she's going to be concentrating on just enjoying the world. She's going to be hosting a lot of our trips going forward, which is exciting. And like I say, she's going to be hosting this trip. And as you know, Pete, she's done this trip. And with that expertise, that's just going to make the trip even more special.
It's the organization is incredible. They do, yeah. It really is. The hotel standard is fantastic, and you are seeing more of India than you could ever imagine, as you know, because we've been talking about it for 45 minutes. Daryl, thank you so much. I want to say
no worries,
thank you.
Peter.
Thank you to everybody who are still listening and watching us. Thank you to CJ, who was behind the scenes as always doing his magic. Thanks, CJ. I know you were going. You made a video. There is a video, by the way, on our YouTube, giving you the highlights of this as well. Our Passion for Cruises and Holidays for Solos YouTube channel. There's a couple of videos about the trip, and also the Cruising Tips Pete. My Facebook page, it's a page. You scroll down past the India trip, you'll see the daily itinerary we talked about. CJ, I know this is a trip that you think is incredible as well.
Yes, I'm so jealous of Christine and all the guys that go on this one. What an amazing opportunity to see India. Fantastic.
Yeah. So thank you, folks. Really appreciate you watching. Thank you, Daryl, for getting another fantastic opportunity with Mercury for this absolutely unique opportunity of a lifetime. Folks, if you haven't been to India, I cannot recommend going to India enough, and this is the tour to do. Thanks, folks, and we will see you next time. Bye, Daryl.
Bye. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Chris. Bye.